friends, this is Pooja Solanki and today I am in the most vibrant city of the vibrant state. Yes, you guessed it right, I am in Ahmedabad and today here I'll be discussing with Mr. Manan Choksi of RE about the real estate bill and its impact on the real estate industry in your favorite program, Expert Advice. Now without wasting a minute, let's meet up with Mr. Choksi. Hello and welcome to Expert Advice. It's a buyer's market right now and for sellers the market is very slow. And in this scenario, sellers are prone to some common mistakes. Now what these mistakes are and how to avoid them, we'll discuss today with Mr. Manan Choksi of RE. Let us first welcome our very special guest for the day. Hello and welcome to the show, sir. Now sir, since I mentioned that sellers are prone to some common mistakes, first of all, what is the one common mistake that every seller commits?
Sellers these days are overpricing their properties. Now this is the biggest mistake they are doing. India had seen one of the dream run in property prices from 2008 to 2012. However, after that the properties market stagnated. The prices did increase but in few pockets and in a very less percentage growth as compared to between 2008 to 2012. The buyers, on the other hand, have been very cautious that the prices are not growing as they used to grow, so they are not buying as fast as they used to. However, the sellers, instead of the pricing reducing the pricing, they are increasing the pricing. So, for example, if I had bought a flat 1 year ago at 1 crore, and they will say that okay, I will need at least 10% return. So today I will sell at 1.1 crores. This is the biggest mistake. The buyers are aware of the options available to them. They compare the prices and they also see that isse acha to hoga. Let us put the money in the bank account. The property prices will crash sooner or later. At that time we'll have probably buy this property at 90 lakhs. So on the other, instead of increasing the number of transactions as the property markets are stabilizing, the number of transactions have reduced. So this is the biggest mistake the buyers are doing. They are overpricing the properties and eventually they are going to sell at less rate than what their listing is. So eventually a person who lists at 1 crore is going to sell at 85 lakhs after 2 years. So 2 years they lose interest, they lose the market value and the transaction is stuck there. Instead, rather than that, what sellers should do is price it right and get it off the market as soon as possible.
Now you're saying price it right. So how do I know what is the right price of my property?
That is a very good question and that is one of the biggest mysteries of real estate sector in India. Because we don't have a transparent market, we really don't know what is the actual worth of my property. So people will range it. Say, आपका flat 1 crore है, brokers will come and tell you that no, ये तो 1.25 crore है, 1.25 crores they can easily sell. So when you are on the verge of selling it of 1 crore, somebody will come and say that it is 1.25 crores. So you get price paralysis. So because of the increase in price, you are afraid to do the deal. Now when such a thing happens, instead of money coming in your bank account the very next day, it comes maybe 2 years later. So you lose 20 lakhs worth of interest anyways. So basically what you are going to gain out of it is at the best 5 lakh rupees. And in case the market stagnates or in case you are in urgent need of money, you may agree to sell at 85 lakhs. So that will be a huge loss of 15 lakhs for the seller. The right price of the property, what you should do is compare the price of the property with a property in the same area, of the same square feet, of the same type. So you cannot compare a residential property to a showroom. Even though they are of same square feet, you cannot compare office premises with say a shop. You have to compare with the same. And do not compare, the biggest mistake in comparison people do is they compare it with the listing value. That there are so many properties available at 1 crore, so obviously my property I will list at 1 crore. But actually you have to compare with the last deal done. So if 3 months ago this comparable property price was sold at 1 crore, then your property is of 1 crore. What people also do it that in case of comparison, they apply the logic that okay, it was done 6 months ago, so I should add 5% increase. So now my property is 1 crore 5 lakhs. But sometimes the market even crashes in 6 months and it may be even 95 lakhs, it may be 5% less. So you have to compare it with the same kind of property and with the nearby time. So you cannot compare a 20-year-old property transaction with your property transaction. Another important point is to get the right pricing is you need to talk to few people who do not have conflict of interest. So if you talk to builders, they will say that okay, my nearby new project comes is at the same size of the flat we are going to sell next door for 2 crores, but that is a new flat. You cannot compare a new property with an old property. So your flat is 20 years old, but you are comparing with your new construction coming next door. It will not be the same. I have also seen people mistaking the ticket size as a comparison. The comparison should be at the carpet value. So rate per carpet of square feet you are getting should be the comparison. Old properties have a higher ratio, so they get a higher carpet area, while newer properties have a super built up are higher. So you cannot compare the new and the old. It is like apple and oranges. You cannot compare new and old. Another important point in comparison is that eventually you have to see what your customers come and tell. So you may compare, you may think it is 1 crore, but you get 10 people to see the property and they value it at 85 lakhs. Then if they are independent people and if they are willing to pay 85 lakhs, probably that is the worth of your property.
Moving further, sir, I would like to know whether a seller can decide the selling price of his property based on his purchase price.
Yeah, that is one of the myths that people use while valuing a property, that I had purchased this property at a long time at X price, so I want this much return, so I want to sell it at a higher price. Another thing which reminds me is people also say that I want to buy a property worth 2 crores. I have 1 crore in my bank account, so I want to sell it at 1 crore, irrespective of what the market says. So this is a need-based valuation. People do not buy properties based on the seller's need. People buy properties on the market value. So another important mistake people do is interiors. अरे मैंने इसमें तो 25 लाख का इंटीरियर करवाया है, इसलिए आई एम गोइंग टू सेल इट एट 1 crore 25 lakhs. So now these are the myths of valuation. You cannot value the property based on how much it had cost you, how much interior or improvement you have done, or how much you need. You have to, any market, you have to value the price at the rate which is ongoing in the market. So if you are wanting to sell a property at say 10,000 rupees a square feet, while the market is at 7,000 rupees a square feet, nobody can help you. You know, that is a mistake. You should avoid that.
It's time for a short break. Don't go away. You know, selling property through online portals, what is your comment on that?
You get a list of all the properties in the area you need, and you get everything, every information without wasting a drop of petrol.
Welcome back to Expert Advice. We are in conversation with Mr. Manan Choksi and we are talking about how sellers can avoid the mistakes when they are selling their property. So let's take this conversation further. So you spoke about interiors, but then if I have spent so much money on my interiors, am I not entitled to gain back that money via selling my property?
Yes, interiors is a very good investment with certain condition. So the condition of interiors being an investment is that it should be what the people want, so rather than what you want. So I have a daughter and I make one bedroom of my daughter pink, but the person who is buying a flat has a son and he wants that bedroom to be done blue. So he values the property at cost of doing that bedroom, repainting, then removing all the girly stuff from the bedroom. That is what is a negative, it goes against you, against the value of the property. So what I would recommend is, yes, interiors, a basic interior, functional interior are an investment. But the moment you move that interior budget towards customization, towards luxury, then it is a problem. then it is not an investment, it becomes an expense. So the moment you do your girl's bedroom pink, you have to write off that money. You do not add it in your property value. However, if you have a modular kitchen installed, if you put a kitchen island or a stove and a chimney, it is an investment. Everybody requires a chimney. No matter who buys the flat requires a chimney. That's an investment that people do value. Another important point is what works against is interior investment is depreciation. While real estate investment appreciates, but investments in interior like a sofa set, the tapestry will go down and the dining set, maybe the fashion will be outdated. So investments in interior designing are not necessarily investment. Most of it is expense. Even though if you say, many people argue with me that I have done interior, if you want to do such interiors today, it will cost you 2 times more. But the unfortunate reality is that interior is something which is very personal. People want to do according to their taste, and they would love to do it themselves apart from the functional things. So I would recommend that do not add 100% of the value of the interiors you do to your property in the cost of property.
I hope the sellers are taking a note of this. Interiors are just for your expense and for your luxury. They are not going to gain you much. Now, moving further about how and what common mistakes to avoid, let me take this discussion further. Now, I'm asking you, sir, on online portals, selling property through online portals. What is your comment on that?
Yeah, online marketplace is a big marketplace in India's economy today. E-commerce firms have made wonders by selling volumes. For a resale property buyer, it's a blessing that you get a list of all the properties in the area you need, and you get every information without wasting a drop of petrol. So that is very good. In the comfort of your home, you can know everything about the market right now, what is available at what price and what are the things, what are the facilities available. However, sellers are yet not fully capable of utilizing this medium to their advantage. So for example, internet portals have photographs. So sellers need to put a lot of photographs. Sellers need to put every information required in the portal to keep their listing relevant and get results out of it. So for example, if the portal asks that do you have a lift, many people say, oh, assume that lift to every building has, so let me not tick that button which shows about the lift. However, when you really go into the search criteria and there are people who are handicapped or maybe old age people, they would say show me apartments who have lifts. Now, if you do not have tick that lift button, your property will not get views. So it is always recommended that you use portals and you put all the information possible about your property. Another thing what we have seen is that there are a lot of portals available. There are a lot of portals across India which have come up, starting from Common Floor, Magic Bricks, 99 Acres, Housing.com. The list is endless. You as a seller have to pay for the listing per month per listing. So if you have one property, every month you will have to pay the charges for how many months you want to keep the property active on the portal. There are some portals which initially give free, but eventually you have to pay for it. Now, ideally what I would recommend you on which portal you should choose, the simple solution is that you choose the portals in which your area properties, your city properties are maximum listed. So that will give you more buyers, because buyers who see a lot of options like to go in that portal often. So people would visit Magic Bricks again and again if he finds new properties, if he wants to see relevant properties. So internet portals are a big blessing for sellers and buyers. It reduces the efforts to take to shortlist the property. My only advice is that try to list on relevant portals, as many more the better, and put all the information required.
Okay, sir, since you're mentioning about all the information to be put across, so do you think photos of property, virtual tours are important in that aspect?
So that is this new concept of richer information that we are looking at now. Earlier, India used to buy properties or inquire of resale properties through classified advertisement. They had this small advertisement in newspaper, only text mentioning few details. Today's market requires all the information. They need to know the layout, they need to know the vastu, they need to know the looks of the property, they need to know the carpet area, the square feet, the amenities, every single thing. You cannot fit so much in a classified advertisement. What you can do is you can create a listing which has maximum photographs. International research has shown listings with more number of photographs sell faster. It can be not any simpler than that. You have more photos, you get your money faster in your bank account. So simple. Now, what is a photograph? Now, this is something interesting what I have observed. In one of the listing which I was browsing, there was a beautiful bungalow from the outside. But as they went inside, the photos were horrible. Now, what did they do was, like a person is living in the house, they photograph the property as the person is living. So, you will see food on the kitchen top, you will see uncleared dining table, you will see clothes on the bed, you will see in the gallery there are clothes drying. So if there is I've seen unfurnished properties, it is closed since a few months and it is, with full of dust. Nobody even cleans before taking the photographs. So I would recommend that be very careful. It is as good as taking the customer on the visit. So before you do virtual tour or photograph, you need a camera, you need training for that. But important point is you stage your property, you make it so beautiful that if anybody looks at the photograph, will buy it. So this is important. This is a development which India is going through. People are not much trained as to how to take good property photographs. I had been to US and I have seen one training classes which does property photograph classrooms dedicated for brokers. So there is a site in US which says that when the sunlight will come on the property, accordingly you can schedule the visit to the site. So this is very important. Natural light is very important while buying a property, and you should be serious about your business, your property. It will help you increase the value if you have very beautiful photographs.
These are the points that need to be considered which can gain you higher value for your property. For more information on real estate and its allied industry, stay tuned to Spin TV. As of now, goodbye and take care.